Howdy folks, thanks for joining me in the brewery. I've got a beer, just for something different. Tasting day on this fella. What is that fella, you ask? That is the recently brewed partial pale ale. Well, pale ale brewed with a partial mash. This is brew I did after sort of it was suggested by someone as part of extravaganza, talking about extravaganza. Someone had asked whether I'd done any partial mash brewing. Sorry, I'm in and out. I've left the door open. I'm washing bloody fermenters, washing kegs, doing yard work. It's like 37 degrees outside. Trying to keep some cooling in the garage / brew cave, so I don't bloody die of bloody exhaustion. I'm certainly not going to die first. Anyway, as I said, yeah, this was suggested by someone, I can't remember who. I'll put a link up, wherever they fucking turn up now, to the brew day. But as I said, this was the first partial mash I've actually done as I think as a real proper brew. I've done a couple of small partial mashes in some experimental stuff, but this is the first I've actually sat down and done a proper partial mash. So for those who aren't exactly sure what a partial mash is, it's using a fully mashed grain bill for the fermentables to add to a kit beer. So it's kit-based brewing, but instead of using dry malt or dextrose or a brew enhancer, we're mashing grains to get our full fermentables. And the idea is it's going to make, well, hopefully it makes a better beer because you're using real ingredients. I've never gone to the extent of actually doing a full partial mash. Plenty of brews I've done, again, coming through extravaganza, where I've used some steeping, but that's always been in conjunction with some malt and some dextrose or other. Never used just the grain to bring up the whole batch. Part of the reason for that is because it does take longer, and extravaganza as such is based on doing fairly simple extract brews while improving it at the same time. This is going to another level, so you're sort of getting in between kit and full all grain, almost, and stepping aside from just doing a basic extract brew. So it's a longer process. And in the brew day video, I actually timed it and went through the whole process. Now I didn't actually go back over it, but I think by memory the whole process, start to finish, was about 2 hours 40 minutes. So with a lot of that time not being physically hands-on, so it's about half the time it will take you to do a normal full grain brew if you're doing all grain from start to finish, including all your cleaning and all the rest of it. But anyway, so let's just go over what so the can of the Black Rock Pale Ale. So this is it's more an American pale ale type of style, maybe New Zealand type of hybrid sort of thing, but it's certainly a maltier pale ale than an Australian pale ale, so the Cooper's pale ale. So first thing is we're not getting that sort of light beer that you may expect from that sort of base, so we're starting there. I've done the Black Rock Pale Ale as part of extravaganza. I'll link that as well if I think about it when I'm editing. The grains were a kilo of Joe White Pilsner malt, 600 grams of Marisota and 400 grams of Carapils. Mashed them, did some boils. I played around with some Cryo pop. I had some Cryo pop there that I bought, had it for, I probably had it for maybe 6 months, so I sat there, hadn't really got around to using it, so I thought this was a good place to give it a whirl. So there was Cryo pop in the boil, just a short boil. Some Citra and Mosaic in equal amounts in just a hop stand. Then that was all added. So the hop stand happened in the boil of the grain, the water from the grain. Added to the tin, topped up to 22 litres, not 23, so that gives us just a little bit more depth as well. Original gravity of 1042. Pitched 22 grams of USA 5 dry, so equivalent of 2 packets. Sat at 18 degrees and let it go with no pressure on it. Initially just let it crack along. 7 days later I dropped 75 grams of the Cryo pop in dry, which was what was left of the 100 gram bag. Dropped the temperature to 2 degrees and closed the spunding valve off. Let it cold crash for 5 days and then put it to the keg. Final gravity was 110. So we had an alcohol volume of 4.1% in the keg. There was enough CO2 held from the bit of fermentation that came along with that last dry hop addition. But I got enough in the keg to give me some nice protection. The keg it sat here on the garage floor for, like I said, this was the 17th of November that it was kegged. It's now the 9th of December. This has been in the fridge for only maybe 4 days. So it's basically sat for about 3 weeks just here on the floor of the garage before I could get on tap. So that's where she be. Keen eyes will know that I was drinking this 2 days ago on the Brewery of the Month video. So that's her. Now it's going to come up a bit darker from this side, from where you're looking at, but that's a sort of deep golden ambery look. It's clear without being brilliantly clear. It's pretty good. Again, I don't know how well that's going to show up from your side. Poured a reasonable head, and it's sort of holding a nice lace cap on top. It's got a lovely nose. Beautiful bloody, just big bouquet of fruits. There's passion fruit and pineapple. Tropically type notes, and again exactly what you'd expect with the Citra Mosaic. But the Cryo pop's the big one. I've not used it before, so this is the first time. But yeah, let's get into it. That's pretty tasty. It's a really nice malt level. Some nice hops from the fruit without being, over the top. They're not, highly expressive. It's just like a big fruit bowl. There's not really, nothing's overly standing out, but there's this really nice tropical punch sort of vibe going on. There's a nice little bit of sweetness in the malt. There's a slight evidence of the kit sitting under it, but it's not massive. Look, and realistically, if you're sitting down just drinking this without being critical, you're probably not going to really overly notice it. Obviously, I'm tuning to it. I'm looking for what's in there. I think if you're sitting down just having a brew and you're not thinking about what's going on with it, you're just drinking it, I think you're gonna not find it to be too heavy. The Black Rock cans for me in general have been fairly light on that kittiness, on the twang. It's certainly less twang than what it is just a little bit of a, it's more a sweetish, say high caramel sort of a note, more than that than the kit twang, where it's a bit more metallic and a bit more bitey, which I think helps with it being not so noticeable. But that's quite a nice beer. Again, I can't really put my finger on where the cryo pop is playing, where it comes in as opposed to the Citra and the Mosaic. There's definitely that tone there of the Citra and the Mosaic. I'm just assuming that cryo pop's just laying over that. I wasn't sure about adding the Citra and Mosaic into it from that point of not being able to maybe not being able to fully assess the cryo pop. There is twice as much cryo pop as there is of those two combined. But the reality is they're all working together. So I think the cryo pop on its own would still be quite nice. But as a combination, it's working quite nicely. But the main thing I'm looking at here is how is the process of that partial mash gone, and I'm really happy. It's worked pretty good. You're certainly getting a beer that feels like beer. I did comment, I think, on the original brew that I thought it would possibly have benefited from a little bit of dextrose, just to bring a little bit more fermentables in. Like I was talking about, maybe bringing the grains down a little bit and stepping up a little bit of dextrose. So as I said, there's 2 kilo of grain in this brew. It's come up at 4.1%. If I was to want to say you wanted a 4.4 or 4.5 beer, 300 grams of dextrose added into the recipe is going to get you there, and it's going to help dry out that finish a little bit. Alternatively, same recipe done to 23 litres with that extra litre to bring the body down a little bit, and 150-200 grams of dextrose just to make sure that alcohol stays in that sort of 4.1, 4.2 range. I think you're still going to get quite a nice beer. I think it could benefit from being just a little bit lighter in the body. Even though it finished at 10.10, there's still a reasonably solid mouthfeel and body. Like I said, they're minor things, and look, the reality is, this is one thing I've really found pretty much across the board doing the kits, especially with extravaganza, is that small amounts of dextrose is certainly well within place in most extract beers, simply because there's so much concentration of the malts in the actual tin. I think you need that dextrose to counteract that. I think it becomes heavier than what it would in a beer before it was actually reduced. And I don't know, I mean, that's purely just summation, it's not science, but that's just how it appears to me, comparing, you know, what you're getting from a kit beer than what you would if you bring the same beer, say, from all grain. Where the all grain beer generally is lighter in the body, even at the same sort of gravities. So that's something to sort of look at. Other thing I need to touch on is that I did say during the brew day video that I would send a bottle of this to someone who came up with the best name. Now, the fans of the channel, the viewers, have absolutely gone nuts with that opportunity, and one person
Let's talk about the most overlooking.
One person gave me a name. Yeah, one. When that was Roscoe Hughes. Yeah, I had it here. I bloody turned it off. Anyway, I did. That's all right. Just confirm exactly what he was. The partial 4077. For those young, for those people who are probably younger than, I don't know, maybe mid-40s, you may not get that reference completely. 4077 is the number of the field hospital in the TV show MASH. The 4077th. So partial MASH 4077. So that's it. The 4077 Pale Ale. And as that means that Roscoe Hughes, you will be getting a bottle sent to you. So you're going to need to send me your address. I will try and track you down on a message, so I can make sure I can get your address. I don't think that's going to be too much of an issue, but we will sort that out, and I'll shoot you a bottle so you can enjoy come Christmas Day, or fuck me, really, anytime you want. It doesn't have to be Christmas Day. In the glass, got a nice, yeah, reasonable little bit of lacing there. It's still holding that nice, you know, bloody, the nice cap on there, a little bit of foam. Anyway, I think it's definitely a success. The method gets a thumbs up from me. As I said, I think it's a great way for brewers to have a bit of a crack at playing around with some grain. So I said, because you are doing an actual mash without going the whole hog. It's a process that only needs a pot on the stove. Now I know I did the video, and actually I did the mash in the Robo Brew, but that method just simply translates straight to your pot on the stove. So no drama there. It's good enough. I think I'm going to play around with this sort of method a little bit more. I may incorporate it probably maybe a bit more into some extravaganza brews. Or it may sort of sit hand in hand with the extravaganza brews. I've got a cerveza can there. I've got a couple of cervezas. I might do one of those on a full partial mash and actually get some flaked corn into the brew to see how that goes with the with a cerveza can. But that's down the track. It was planned to happen yesterday. It didn't. It hasn't happened today. It might happen this afternoon yet. It may happen tomorrow, or it may happen, who knows. It's going to happen at some point. But anyway, that's me. Let's wrap this sucker up. Partial mash brewing. Yeah, like I said, if you want to just go another level, you know, introduce something a little bit more to your brews, certainly worth looking at. Certainly a good way of bringing in that more complexity that that normal bit of steeping with the kit does, or bringing out other stuff. And let's be honest, dry malt is getting ridiculously expensive. I know if you're buying the Cooper's boxes, you're currently paying $16 a kilo. It's $8 for a half kilo box of light dry malt. I think the BE ones, BE2s, you're paying somewhere in the vicinity of $12 to $14, depending on where you're buying them from. So that's getting quite pricey. Where you're going to pick up your grain for $5 to $9 a kilo, depending on what grain you're using. So cost-wise, it's possible. It's sort of similar, and possibly depending on how much where you are getting your grain, even maybe a little bit cheaper. But hey, it's your brew. You do it how you want to do it. But as I said, it's giving you something else to think about and look at. Anyway, I'm done. If you got any comments or any questions, stick them down the bottom. Patrons, as always, thank you very much for your support. Again, keeps the channel going, gives me the what I need to keep playing around and doing different experiments. There's a link down the bottom to Patreon if you're interested. If you subscribe to the channel, thank you very much. If you aren't subscribed, and let's say really you should be, hit the subscribe button down the bottom there. Ring the bell, get notified when there's a new video, and give me a thumbs up. Like the video. I like making them. I hope you like watching them. But anyway, that's me, Little John. Done for now. Partial mash on a Black Rock Pale Ale with some Cryo pop. Gets a thumbs up from Little John. So for now, till I see you in the next video, when we I don't know, we might brew beer, we might drink beer, we might talk beer. Till then, good brewing.